In this slideshow, we're going to take a look at some more Inventor commands so that we can use Inventor more efficiently. We're going to look at things like making patterns, like rectangular patterns, circular patterns, and mirrors. We're going to look at the move, copy, trim, extend, and offset commands. Okay, patterns. We have three different types of patterns. The first is rectangular. So let's say that we have a rectangle we drew here and that we want to copy that pattern multiple times. So in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns that we want, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows, and we want to make them 1 inch by 1 inch apart. Okay, we can use the rectangular command, and we just have to draw one of these objects and then copy it over. Circular pattern works the same way except for circles. Here we have a circle and we want it to be on a specific bolt hole circle, which is the diameter between these, or the diameter of these circles. And here we have 10 circles drawn around this shape here from the center. You can also use the mirror command. Here, for example, we have an object that is really like 4 of the same thing, so we can just have to draw it once. Over here on the left, we can mirror that over that way, and then mirror them both down so that we have the complete drawing here. We're also going to take a look at editing sketches. We're going to take this sketch here and we're going to draw it, and then we're going to make some changes. We're going to change these dimensions here, and we'll look how that is done. Okay, so open up Inventor, and we're going to open up an inch drawing, and again we'll start with our standard sketch. Here we are back in our drawing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a rectangle that's 3.75 by 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. I'm going to go to rectangle, 2-point center, and I pick our origin. I'm just going to draw a rectangle. I'll then go into my dimension. I'll make this one 0.375, and I'll make this side 0.25. Now what I want is I want to make copies of this, and I want to have 4 columns that are going to be 1.5 inches apart, and I'm going to want 3 rows or 5 rows that are 1 inch apart. So I'm going to go up here up under here, and I'm going to go to rectangular pattern. Okay, first thing it wants me to pick the geometry. I can pick it one at a time, or I can lasso it. Okay, however I want to do it. Okay, so I'll go into rectangle, geometry, I'll lasso it. Okay, now it wants me to pick a direction. Now I can pick a direction so I can make it use an existing line. Okay, if I want to make those first direction or the first copies go along the horizontal axis, I'll pick a horizontal line. Okay, you'll see it puts an arrow there, and you'll also see it puts a little shaded one that's going to be a preview of what our copy would look like right now. Here I can flip that, so if I want the copies to go in that direction, I'll do that. Now here I said I wanted 4 copies, so now you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want that distance to be 1.5 inches apart. Direction 2 I'm going to pick in the vertical direction. Okay, again I'm going to flip this arrow so it goes up, and here I want to have 5, and I'm going to make those an inch apart. Again, you'll see the preview here of what I'm going to end up with. Okay, whenever you see these 2 greater than signs, that means there's more information. Now I can make these associative, okay, or not associative. Now, if I make them associative, they're all one entity. Okay, so if I take and I edit one of these features, it's going to be edited on all of them. If I take that off, then it's going to treat each of these as a separate entity. Okay, if I pick something I didn't want or I didn't want to copy, I could take and I could suppress that. I could also say that I want it fitted within a certain area. Alright, so again I have 1.5. Okay, good thing I looked at that. 5, 1 inch, and I'm going to pick OK, and I'm going to make them associative. Okay, so now here I have all these entities. Now if I try, since they're associative, if I try to delete that line, okay, I'm hitting the delete button and nothing is happening. Okay, I cannot delete one of these. Now if I take here and let's say that I want to make this a 1/2 inch, 0.5, you'll notice that all of the rectangles are now 0.5. If I want to make this one 0.75, okay, now all of them has changed. If I didn't make them associative, it would only change those one at a time. Okay, so I'm going to just undo until I'm back to nothing, and we're going to take a look at using a circular. Okay, I undid it a little too far, so I need to start a new sketch. Go to the XY plane. Okay, now this time I'm going to use a circle. What I want is I want 6 circles to be on the 2-inch bolt circle. Alright, so I'm going to start off, I'm going to draw a circle. Okay, and I'm just going to put it here. Okay, so now I have my circle. What I want to do is first I want to take and I want to make sure this is the right size. So I'm going to go into dimension and I'm going to make this 1/4 inch, 0.25. Okay, now I want to have that as a bolt circle. I want that bolt circle to be 2 inches. I'm going to take right here our origin, and that's going to be the center of where we're going to copy that pattern around. Okay, so if I want to have the distance between these circles to be 2 inches, they're going to be 1 inch, or the radius, from the center. So I'm going to go here, dimension, and I'm going to pick a dimension from here to here. Okay, and I'm going to make that 1 inch. Okay, I'm also going to take a dimension from here to here, and I'm going to make that 0 so it goes right on that axis. Okay, so now if I copy that around the circle with this 0 point as my center, I should have what I want. So I'm going to go up here to circular. Again, I pick the geometry, pick that circle right there. Now it's going to ask me for an axis. Okay, I may have to pick this little line here, and it wants to know an axis. So I can pick a point, I can pick a line, I can pick the center of a circle, okay, and I can pick our origin right here. And you'll see it turn green. Okay, and right now it's got 6 circles on there, and then again, this is the direction in which they're going, either counterclockwise or clockwise. Okay, that doesn't matter in our case. This is how many degrees it's going to fill up. Okay, if I want them to go completely around in a 360-degree circle, okay, again, I can make it associative and I can make it fit within that circle. Okay, now I just pick OK. Okay, here is my bolt circle. So my distance, whoops. Okay, let's see if we can put that back. My distance between these circles from here to here is 2 inches. Now if I try to make that dimension, it's going to tell me it's over constrained. Okay, I can say yeah, accept it, and it'll put it there, but it's not associative. Okay, now when I look at these, again, if I take and try to delete, whoops, a lot of mistakes today. If I click on this and try to delete it, it will not, because it's taken as one entity. And 2, if I go here now and I take and double click on this 250 and I change that to 0.5 again, Okay, you'll see that all the holes have gotten larger. They will all go up at the same time. Then I could go from the center here, and then whatever size circle I wanted for the outside, I'll pick OK. I'll finish this sketch. Now I'll take and I'll extrude these. Okay, now again I can extrude each one of these separately. Okay, if I were doing something like that. Okay, or I can take and I can extrude this part here, so now what I have is a hub or a wheel with holes in it. Okay, and then whatever I want that thickness to be, I'll make that 0.5 and I'll pick OK. Alright, I want to take a look real quick at the hole command. Now I can take my 3D drawing here and I can put a hole in the center by picking hole. I'll click right there, and here you'll notice if I touch the outside, it makes that concentric. I can then make this whatever size I want. If I'm making this a specific thread size, for example, I can pick a unified thread. I can make it a 1/4 20, make it threaded, go all the way through, pick OK. Now I have a hole in the center there. We have nothing again. Back to our original sketch. Okay, and again I went too far, so I'm going to go to new sketch and pick the XY plane. Now what I'm going to make is I'm going to make a little L bracket. So I'm going to start here with a line. I'm going to start from the center. I'm going to go this way, 2.5. I'm going to go up 1. That's a 2. I'm going to go up 1. I am going to go over this way. And let's see, I'm going to go 1. Okay, I'm going to go up 2.5 minus 1, which is 1.5. That's a 4 rich 1.5. And then I'm going to go over to where I meet this line and down to here and pick OK. Alright, so now I have a little L bracket here. Okay, first I'm going to take a look at moving it. Okay, if we go to move, which is up here, I pick on move again. It allows me, or it asks me first to select what I want to pick. So I'll pick these guys here. Now it wants a base point. Okay, so I can take and make a base point. Now the base point can be here, for example, would be that end point. I could go here and try to find the midpoint of one of these lines, which I can't. Okay, or I could just pick a spot anywhere. Okay, I can also use precise inputs, which allows me to move it in the X and Y direction. Okay, I'm going to take and I'm going to pick the base point and I'll just make it right at the origin there. Now it tells me editing dimensions placed on geometry may restrict the intended operation should they be relaxed if necessary. Since I took my dimensions from that point, okay, it's going to say, well, you could be moving that, but we're just going to say yes because that's what we want. It's being edited, constrained by other geometry. You want those removed? Yes, we do. Okay, so now you can see I can move it around wherever I want it. Okay, I can take and move it along that axis right there. I could take and I could move it along this axis here. Okay, I'm going to take it here and I'll just click right there. Okay, now I can also take, okay, let's go and select these again, and I'm going to pick a base point. Now pick this base point right here. Again, I get that information, and I can pick copy. So it allows me to copy, so I can go straight across here, and now you'll see that I have 2. Okay, and it works the same as our copy command. So I'm going to undo it. I'm going to undo back to my original. Now I'm going to go to copy. Okay, you'll see that's pretty much the same thing. Okay, the big difference is I can take and I can copy it to the clipboard and then paste it somewhere else. Okay, I'm going to select everything. Again, I need a base point. And if I want, I can just pick right here. Okay, and then you'll see when I move that point, it moves It's like putting a little handle here. Okay, and I can take and move it wherever I want, or copy it wherever I want. So I can copy one there. Now notice it stays in that command. I could copy another one over here if I wanted. Okay, I could take and copy one up. Once I'm finished, I can pick OK. Now I have all those copies. Alright, let me undo that so that I have back to my original L bracket. And now we're going to take a look at the mirror command. And the mirror command does just that. It makes a mirror image of what we pick, and it will copy it or it will move it at the same time. Alright, so I'm going to take the same thing. I'm going to go to mirror. Okay, you'll see that's basically the same thing, and only a couple of different things. It has a select, so I select everything here. Now it needs a mirror line. I have to mirror it around the line. I can't pick the origin, okay, or a spot. I need to have a line to mirror it around. So I'm going to go to mirror line. I'm going to pick this line. Okay, and you don't see anything happen. Okay, I'm going to pick apply. Okay, and then done. Okay, so now it took and it mirrored this object around this line right here. I could take the mirror again, okay, and select everything, pick this mirror line, apply it, and now I have a mirror of that one. So I could start off with just one object here, okay, or in other words, I could take and draw a quarter of it, mirror that, okay. I can finish the sketch, okay, and I could extrude that. Okay, now you notice since I left those center lines here, I have to pick each one separately, but it will make it one object when I'm done, and I can pick OK. Okay, we looked at before, and I could put fillets. So put some fillets on this guy, put some there, or I can put all fillets in rounds. Okay, so there we have our mirror command. Back to my original sketch here, and I'm going to take a look at rotating geometry. So here I'm going to go up top here, and here is rotate. Again, you'll see, pretty much the same kind of thing for all these commands. So I'm going to select the objects that I want to do. Okay, now once a center point, because when I rotate something, I'm going to rotate around a center. So I'm going to select the center point to be this end point here. Okay, now again, it's going to give me that warning message because I have the dimensions here. I'm going to say yes and yes. Now you see, if I want, you'll see as I change this, you'll see it change the angle. Okay, I can also type in an angle. So if I typed in, for example, 60, okay, that would give it that 60-degree angle. I can also copy it. Okay, so I can pick copy if I want, and then it would make both of those. Okay, here I can relax those constraints or break those constraints, and that's why it has prompt there. If I would have picked these as never, then it would have just, or always, excuse me, always, and it wouldn't have asked me, and it would have done it. And I pick apply. Okay, and now I've rotated it. Okay, so rotating is pretty easy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo it back till I have no sketch. Okay, so I'm right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some objects, and it doesn't matter what size I make them. So I'm going to make a circle. Okay, I'm going to draw a rectangle. And actually, yeah, I'll show you that. And I'm going to make a line. Okay, like here. Alright, and we're going to take a look at trimming and extending. So if I go up here and I pick trim, okay, it will automatically trim to the closest line it can find. So if I click, I'm going to click on what I want removed. So if I pick the line up here, notice you can see that dotted line. It's going to remove just that part of it. If I click here, it's going to remove that part. If I click here, it's going to remove. Now you'll notice since that rectangle is a middle from the center, it does it to that 45-degree angle. Or if I want to click it there, I can trim it to there. Okay, I'm going to right click and I'm going to pick OK. I'm going to go back into the trim again. Now let's say that I want to trim, okay, just to this circle. What I can do is I can hold the control button down and pick the circle. Now when I pick here, I can just trim to that one entity instead of everything. Okay, so for example, if I hit right click, pick OK, go back into trim, pick the control button and pick this line here. Okay, now what's going to happen is it's going to trim this line just to that line right there. Okay, so we can either trim everything. Okay, again, I can go along and trim whatever I don't want away from there. Okay, and then when I'm done, I can right click, pick OK, or I can hit the escape button. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to look at offset. Look at the offset command. So just draw a rectangle, draw a line, draw a circle, and then draw two continuous lines. Okay, it doesn't matter how big they are or where you put them. I'm going to go to the offset command up here, and the way that offset works is we pick the object we want to offset, and then we can move it in the direction we want to offset it. Or we could select the one we want, and now we could type in a number, 0.5, okay, which happens to be over there. Okay, the way that the offset command works, if I take continuous lines and I go to offset them, notice that it treats it as one entity. Okay, while you're in the offset command, if you right click, you'll see loop select. Loop select, take that off, allows us to pick a single line. Okay, so I pick that line. Now it allows us to pick multiple lines, but I'm going to pick that line. Now I have to right click and pick continue, and then it will work just like the other one. Okay, I'm going to right click and I'm going to put the loop back on, and if I offset a circle, okay, make sure that it is concentric, or it makes it concentric. Okay, if I go here to this rectangle, and if I click on rectangle, notice it grabs all four sides. Okay, I pick OK, that's what it looks like. Now when I do that, okay, if I take and highlight this line and click and hold, notice it moves them equally. Okay, that is because if I go into the offset command, right click, okay, you'll see that constrain offset is on. That means that it's going to constrain these so that the distance from here to here is always going to be the same, and this line and this line and this line and this line will be the same respectively. Alright, I'm going to delete these. Okay, and I'm going to go in the offset command, and I'm going to take off the constrain offset. Okay, it doesn't look any different right now, so I'll just drag a spot and move it there. I'll pick OK. But now if I pick one line here and then move it, notice I can move it independently of the other lines. Okay, that's how that works. And again, by default, okay, if I'm in the offset command, right click, loop select, and constrain offsets are on by default. Let's take a look at how we would draw this particular drawing, and then we will edit it. Okay, so if you take a second now and either memorize that drawing or make a screenshot of it, okay, and then we will get drawing. So if you want to pause here until you get whatever you need. Okay, what we're going to do then is we're going to go here and then we're going to edit these. Alright, so I'm going to go back into AutoCAD, or AutoCAD. I'm going to go back into Inventor. Okay, and we're going to draw that particular drawing. So I'm going to just start off with a line here. Okay, and I'm going to go and I'm going to hit escape, because what I want to do is I want to close this and not save it. Whoops, and I went and saved it. So I'm going to pick close and don't save it. I'm going to save it, no. Okay, and what I want to do is that drawing happens to be in metric. So here under my templates I'm going to pick metric standard millimeter. I'm going to start a new sketch. I'm going to go to the XY plane. Okay, that should work a little bit better. So I'm going to go from the line, I'm going to draw it right here. Okay, and I'm going to go over, and that dimension is going to be 80. I'm going to draw up here straight up, and that is going to be 40. Okay, this is going to go to where it meets here, so if I just hover over there till it turns green, I can move it over, click, and click. Okay, so I have that part of it here. Okay, up here I have a little cutout. I'm going to go here to line, and I'm just going to draw a line over here, and I'm going to go 15. Then I'm going to go down, what is it, 5, and then straight over to here. Okay, I'm going to take and I'm going to draw a circle that's going to be right here, and that circle is 20. Okay, now I'm going to go in and trim some of this stuff away. I'm going to trim this guy and that guy. I'm going to trim him there and him there. Now notice when I trim this one, okay, it says it can't do it. Okay, that's because I have a dimension to it. Okay, but it did break it. So I can take here, hit escape, and delete it. Notice though my dimension is gone, so I might want to put my dimension back in here. Okay, right here. And also put this dimension back from here to here. Okay, and we also have a hole in here, so I can put the hole, I don't know, wherever I want it. And I'll dimension it. It's from here to the center of here is 15. And from this edge here to the center is 25. And then the diameter of that is 15. 15, this is 20. Okay, so now I have my part. I go in here and finish the sketch. Okay, and I can extrude it if I'd like, and let's say we extrude it, and we'll make it 10 millimeters. That's a fine number. Okay, now I want to make some changes. I want to change this notch up here. I want to change this radius down here, and I want to change the circle. Okay, now if you notice over here I have the extrusion that we just did. If I open up the plus on there, you'll see here's the sketch that I created. If I highlight it, right click, and pick edit sketch, now I go back into my sketch mode that I was before. Okay, now all I have to do is the numbers that I want to fix or change. I can just, whoops, hit escape, double click on it, hit escape, double click on it. That 15, I want it to be 20. Okay, I want this dimension here, double click on it, 25. I want this radius here to be 30. Okay, once I get that done, I pick finish sketch, and now you notice it automatically updates my drawing. Alright, that is it for more commands.